In this lecture, we will download and install Unity in our system. To do this, first you need to get Unity Hub. Go to this link and click on the button Download Unity Hub. Once downloaded, install it in your system. Now open Unity Hub. And here you can see project panel. For you, this will be empty if you are installing Unity Hub for the first time. Now go to the installs. Now I have already installed Unity through Unity Hub, but for you it may be empty. To download and install Unity Hub, I will go to the add and it will add a new Unity installation. It will give you option to download Unity and you can choose your Unity version here and click next to install. So other option to download Unity is going to this download archive page, and this is the download archive page, and you can manually download Unity and install it in your system. If you download and install Unity through this download archive page, then it will not appear here in the installs. But if you download and install through Unity Hub, then it will automatically appear here after installing. So if you have downloaded and installed through Unity Hub, then it is okay. Otherwise, after downloading Unity from this download archive page, go to the locate, click the locate button, and now locate your Unity exe file. For example, now I will add a different Unity installation here. I will go to the program files because it is where I have installed different Unity installations. So for example, I will add this Unity 2020 version and go here and go to editor, and this is the wrong folder. I will go to this version and go to editor, and maybe I have uninstalled Unity from here. So I need to locate the correct folder and let me add Unity 2018, and here you can see that this is the correct folder, and here you can see unity.exe. Click this unity.exe and now you can see that it has been added in the installations. So we will be using Unity 2019.4.18 version to make this game. Now click on the projects and create a new project. Click on the create and choose the 3D, and here I will type the name of the project and I will say it racing game. Choose your location and make sure you select 3D and click on the create. It may take some time to create the project depending on your system. So in the next lecture, our project will be created and it will be open, and then we will download and install required assets to make our game. In this lecture, we will start importing necessary assets for our system, for our game. Now, go to the asset store and search for vehicle tools. If you type here vehicle tools and click for search, then you can see that here are vehicle tools, and these vehicle tools are by Unity Technologies and they are free. Click it and now after adding it to your assets, click on open in Unity. If you click on open link, then it will open it inside the package manager. But package manager is a little slow, so what I have done, I have opened this asset inside the asset store. To open asset store inside the Unity, you can go to the window and here search for the asset store. So it will be opened here. Now inside the Unity in asset store, search for vehicle tools and download and import. So there are two ways to import assets. You can do it inside the browser, and if you open it, then the assets will be imported through Package Manager, or you can open Asset Store inside Unity and search for your assets here and download and import. Now in these assets we will only use track. So this is a complete project, but we don't need other things here, so I have unchecked the things which I don't need. So I need only track. So for this I have imported models, materials, textures and scenes, and also terrain auto upgrade. So after unchecking all the things which we don't need, click on import. So click on reload if it asks, and go to the scenes and click on the test track, and here you can see the track. We will use this track. If you go to the game view, then you can see that this is our track, and click this scene and click on the Control D. Actually Control D is not working for some reason for me, so I will go to the edit. But after selecting the scene, click on the edit and click on the duplicate, and you can name it my track. And now create a project here, create a folder here, and you can name it my project, and go to the scenes, and now drag your my track inside the my project. So if you open it, then you can see that it is exactly the same track. Here you can see it has also vehicles. We can delete these vehicles, also delete these span points, and we will need this camera and also the lighting. You can delete the canvas because we don't need the canvas, and save your scene. So this is our track which we will use in our project, and in the next project we will download and import standard assets. In this lecture we will download and import standard assets inside Unity. To do this, go to the Asset Store and search for standard assets, and if you click open in Unity, then it will open inside the Package Manager. You can download and import from Package Manager, but I have again opened Asset Store inside the Unity and downloaded and click on the import button. Now again, we don't need everything inside the standard assets, so I have unchecked the things which I don't need. So I have unchecked 2D, and we will need cameras, cross-platform input, utility and vehicles. All other things have been unchecked. So inside the vehicle, I have unchecked aircraft, and I have only selected car. Now click on the import and wait for it to be imported. Now when you will first time import standard assets, and standard assets has created a standard asset folder, and when you will import it first time, you will receive some errors inside the console. And the reason is, you can see here that standard assets are supported only up to Unity 2018.4. So this is our Unity version 2019, and we have to remove these errors ourselves. So double click the error and it will open inside the editor. So actually it is not too much work to solve this error. So only thing we need to do is first type here unityengine.gui and replace here GUI text with text only. But before this, make sure that you write this line using unityengine.gui. Otherwise, it will not recognize this text element. So save your script and go to Unity and wait for it to be compiled. And now you can see that error has gone. Now if I go to scene view and from standard assets, I can go to the vehicles and go to the cars, and inside the prefab drag this car into the scene. Now if you play it, you can see that your camera is showing you this view. So our car is somewhere else inside the scene. So what we can do is click the camera. First of all, go to scene view and double click your car and move inside the scene view. You can move inside the scene view by holding your right mouse button and dragging your mouse. Also, you can use your arrow keys on your keyboard to navigate inside your scene, and rotate your mouse wheel to zoom in and zoom out. I will disable the gizmos. This is due to the gizmos. All icons are showing, so I will disable it. So go to the view where you think it is okay and click on your camera now. Go to the game view and click the game object and click align with view. I will undo it by pressing Ctrl Z, and actually I need to select my camera here. So after selecting my camera, because camera is child of this parent game object, and I will click the game object and click align with view, and you can see that our camera is going to this view. So now if I play the game, you can see that we can drive our car, but if you play it, you can see that it will disappear from the game view, and this is because our camera is staying at the same position and our car moves. So I will make the camera child of the car. Now this camera will move with the car. And I can fix the camera. Here you can see that this view is not so great. So I will go to the scene view and I will look here and move away, and now click again on the camera, and from the game object I will click align with view, and inside the game you can see that this is our camera view, and this is our car now. I have muted the audio. You will see that you will also be able to hear audio if you click it. So this is our track. This track is actually looking a bit darker, and this is because I have not generated lighting. So you can go to the window and from rendering click on the lighting settings, and here you can click generate lighting. So now you can see that our sky is not looking real. So we need a skybox, and in the next lecture we will download and import skybox and it will change the look of our sky completely. In this lecture, we will download and import Skybox to change the look of our sky. Go to the Asset Store and type Skybox and press Enter and drag your pricing to 0 and click this button to research. And here you can see different skyboxes. You can choose any of the skybox to change the look of your sky, and I will choose from here All Sky Free. Click it and from here you can download and import. I have already downloaded it, so I will click on import. It will start decompressing. And actually it take some time. So now I have this option. So I will click on import and it will create a folder All Sky Free. Now after some time, Skybox import has been completed and a new folder has been created here, All Sky Free. So there are two ways to add Skybox in your game. You can go to the camera. First I will go to the game view. And you can see that our scene is also looking better than previous because it was darker. Previously, now I have clicked generate lighting and it has generated lighting. So if I play now, you can see that after lighting has been generated, it is looking lot better. So I will stop the game now, and to add the skybox, you can go to the main camera and click on add component and search for the component skybox. This skybox needs a material, and here the skyboxes which you have imported are showing. So I can click it. You can choose any skybox you like. This is the day skybox, and for example if I click this, and you can see that the look of the sky has changed completely. The other option is, I will remove it from here, and other option is you can go to the lighting. To open the lighting, go to window, and from rendering you can click lighting setting and this window will open. So here it is saying skybox material, and you can click here and also select your skybox here. And for example, if I click it, first I will choose none so you can see the difference. And now I can go to the lighting and choose this skybox. You can see that the look of our sky has changed. So now we can drive our car, but you can see that this car is not looking great. So we will use controls of this car, but we will change the look of our car completely. For this, we will download and import some car model from Asset Store and replace this car with this model. In this lecture, we will replace the car model of standard assets car. Go to the Asset Store and search for racing cars. I am using this paid car model, and it is for $5, but you don't need to pay for car. You can use any free car available on Asset Store. Download this car and import inside the Unity. Now drag your car model inside the scene. I will go to the FBX folder and choose my car and drag it inside the scene, and I will place it where my Sky car is. This car used with the standard assets is called Sky car. If you look here, then this is the Sky car used, and now you can disable it. Now you can see your car here. I will make this car child of the original car. Now select your main car, and here have you script attached car controller. Inside here you have option of wheel meshes, and currently it is using the wheels of Sky car. This is the Sky car. If you enable it again, you can see that I will disable our car here. You can see that this car has wheels. It has 4 wheels, and inside the car controller it is using the wheels of this car. So I will disable it again. Now we are using our own car here, so we will need to drag the wheels of our car here. So here the first element needs Sky car wheel front right. So I will do the same. I will drag front right wheel here, and this is the front left wheel. I will drag it here, and this is the back right wheel and back left wheel. Make sure that wheels are placed in the correct order. Now if you play your game, you will see that I will go to the scene view and click the car model, and first I will drag my scene view here, and if I play the game, you can see that wheels have moved out of position, and we need to fix it. If you open your car, and here you can see that it has wheels hub, and if you click it, now you can see that these are the wheel colliders. Now select your wheel collider and see that our wheel will move to the position of the wheel collider. So at runtime, it places itself where the wheel collider is. So we can fix this by moving the wheel collider. So move your wheel collider where your original wheel is. So do this with all the wheel colliders: front right, back right, front left and back left. And move it here. I will change the position of all the wheel colliders. You can place the wheel colliders where you think your wheels should be placed. And now you can see that our wheels are at correct position, and now we can drive our car. So now we have replaced the Sky car with our own car model. Currently there is problem with our camera. It is actually child of our car and it is rotating with our car. We will fix this in the next lecture. In the previous lecture, we saw that making the camera child of the car was not working correctly, and actually our camera was not smoothly following the car. So in this lecture, we will fix this problem by writing a script to make the camera follow the car, and we will attach this script to the camera. Now you can see that our camera is no longer child of the car. Also, our main camera is child of a empty game object. So I will drag the main camera here to unchild the main camera. Left click and hold onto the main camera and drag your mouse. Now it is no longer child of this empty game object. Now delete this empty game object. And first I will remove this missing script, and inside your project panel create a new C# script. You can create a new C# script by right clicking, going to create and click this C# script. It will create a C# script. Name your script camera follow. Now open your script in the editor and we will declare a public transform target and also the distance, public float distance, and by default it will have value 6 and public float height, and I will give it the default value of 3. Now this public transform target will be our car. This will be target which will be followed by our camera, and this will be the distance of the camera from the target. So if our camera is following the target, then it will follow the target by remaining at the distance away, by remaining at the distance of 6 meter or whatever the units are. And this will be height of the camera. So this is the 3f, and our camera will stay at a certain height above the car, and this height will change the height of the camera. Now the update function is called every frame, but we will write the script inside another function, another method, and this is late update. Late update is called after the update, and we will write all the camera script inside the late update. Now first we will check if target is null. If we have not assigned any target, then we will return and no action will be performed. Now transform.position is equal to target.position. This transform.position refers to the position of our camera to which the script is attached, and it will change to position of the target game object. Because this line is called in the update, in the late update, so camera will keep changing its position to follow the target. Now we also want to move the camera away from the car by this distance. So below this line write transform.position is equal to transform.position and multiply it, not multiply, add it with the vector 3.forward into the distance. Vector 3.forward into distance. If you go to your car, in the scene view, you can see this blue axis. This is the forward axis of the car. By default, z-axis is the forward axis. If we move the car in the forward direction, then it will be the z-axis. So what are we saying in this script is, whatever the position of the camera is. For example, this is the position of the camera while we are running the game, and this is the forward axis. We want to move the camera away from the car by this distance, so we will add the vector 3.forward multiplied by distance into the position of the camera. So in this way, our camera will move away from the car, and it will move like currently it will not work because our camera is not child and it is not following the car. But I will show you once we will play the game. And next, we will add the height to the camera. It will stay above the car by a certain height. Transform that position, new vector 3, and the x position in x inside this x value inside this vector will be the x position of the camera, and then transform that position dot y, and we will add a height to the y position of the camera. This will move the camera up, and then the transform dot position dot z. Now we will write a method which is built in inside Unity, transform.lookAt and target. This will rotate the camera to look at the target, and which is our car. So let's play the game. It will take some time to compile the script, and let's play now. But before playing, first we need to attach the script to the camera. Now you can see that we have declared some public variables here, and these are showing here. We will need to assign the target, and we will drag car here. And now let's play the game. And you can see this distance and height. This distance was defined to move the camera away from the car. Now currently it is 6 meters distance away from the car. If I decrease it, then camera will move closer to the car, and if I increase it, it will move away from the car. Also, we are adding some height into the y position of the camera. Currently this height is 3. We can decrease this height. So currently this script will not work correctly. There will be some problem, because if we keep going straight, then camera will correctly follow the car. But you will see what will happen when we rotate the car, and when we take turn, you can see that our camera has changed its position. It means that we also have to take into account of the rotation of the car. And now you can see that camera is seeing the car from a totally different angle. So to fix this, what we will do, instead of adding vector 3 dot forward into distance into transform dot position, what we will do, we will write target dot rotation, and it is first I will show you that this is our line. Transform dot position is equal to transform dot position dot vector 3 dot forward into distance. Now what we will do, we will, and let me remind what was it. It was, we actually want to negate the rotation. To take into account the rotation, we will minus the rotation of the camera, not the camera of the car. Then we will multiply it with the vector 3 dot forward. So I will explain again what I am doing. Transform dot position is equal to transform dot position. This is the position of the camera, and we are changing the position of the camera by negating the rotation of the car. This is the rotation of the car, and multiply it with the vector 3 dot forward into distance. This is to move the camera away from the car, and this is to take into account the rotation of the car when we turn the car to solve the problem which we saw when we play the game. So now our camera will follow correctly. Let's see now. And you can see that camera will stay at this position and it will not change its angle. And now there are not sudden rotations. And now the camera is working correctly. You can also change this height of the camera. Also, if you want to actually start main camera to the position of the car, what you can do is, inside the scene view, you can move here and click your camera, go to the game object and align with view. Now go to the game view. Now your camera is seeing the car even when we are not playing the game. So when we play the game, we can change the distance, we can change the height, wherever it looks good. But remember, when we will stop the game, we will lose these values. So what you can do, you can remember these values and write them down somewhere, and when you stop the game, you can see that they are gone. Also, if you change these values here, for example, I will change value here 1, and this value I maybe make it very high, 30F, and you may think that it may make the difference, but it will not, and I will tell you reason. And you can see that we have changed the height to 30 and distance to 1, but it is not changing. This is because these variables are public and the values inside the inspector are taking priority. So we can change them here, 30 and 1. And now you can see that it is working. If you want your default value to something else, then you can change these values here. After changing these values here, you need to also change these values inside the inspector. Otherwise, the value change inside the script will not work, and these values will take the priority. In this lecture, we will set standard assets AI car. I have created a new scene, and inside this scene, right click in the hierarchy and from the 3D objects, select a train. It will add a train inside your project. Now by default, this train is huge. We can change the size of the train by going to train settings, and here we can set the train width and length. I will make it 200 in width and length. Now currently this train has no textures. I have imported these outdoor ground textures and I will use these to paint the train. To paint the train, select your train in the hierarchy and now click this paint terrain button and select the paint texture here. and click the edit train layers and click create layer. Now you can choose texture. I will choose this grass texture, and by default it is added to the train. Now I will add another texture, create layer, and I will add a texture to make a road in our train. Now select your second texture and now you can paint this texture. You can also change the brush size and also change the opacity of the texture. This opacity will decide how strong the texture will be painted. So I have set the opacity to the full. Now I will paint a texture so that it can act as a road. You can also remove the texture. To remove the texture, what you can do, I think, to remove the texture, you can select this grass texture and you can repaint it. Now it will replace the road texture added. Now this will act as a test circuit to try our AI car. Now inside the standard assets, from the vehicles and prefabs, drag your AI car into the scene. And this is the car waypoint based. And this is your car. I will drag the scene view here so that we can see scene view and game view both at the same time. Now in the scene view, I will select a view so that we can see the car, and select your camera and click align with view. I think this is better now. I will select main camera again and from the game object click align with view, and I will make the main camera child of the car. Currently, if you play your game, your car will move, but it will move in circles because it doesn't know where to go. We need waypoint system in our scene so that our car can follow these waypoints. To add these waypoints, first make an empty game object and I will reset its transform. To reset its transform, right click and click reset. And I will name it waypoints. Now inside here I will add waypoints objects. I can also add empty game objects to make waypoints, but it is hard to visualize empty game objects inside the scene. So I will use the cube so that we can see where are they in our scene. From 3D object, select the cube and now move your cube here. I will add 3 cubes. Now these 3 cubes will not make the perfect circuit, and they are not enough to make the perfect circuit, but to test the car, first we will add only 3 cubes. Now when these cubes are added, add a script to your parent waypoints game object. Click add component and add waypoint circuit. This script is part of the standard assets, and now if you click this assign using all child objects, it will automatically detect these cubes. You can also change the order of the cubes. For example, you can move it down and again you can move it up. So using this button you can change the order. Now this is the waypoint. You can see yellow circuit. Now this is the first waypoint, this cube. This is the first object where our car is. It will go to this cube, and from this cube it will go to the second cube and then the third. Then it will come back to the first cube and it will continue. So let's try it. And it is turning towards. First we need to turn off the box colliders, otherwise our car will collide with the box colliders. I will remove the box collider. You can also turn off the mesh renderer if you want. So let's play now. Currently our car is again making circles. This is because we need to select the AI car, and inside the car there is a script attached to the car, waypoint progress tracker, and it has a slot circuit. Drag your parent waypoints game object to this slot and now play again. Now it is moving towards first waypoint, and from it will go to the second waypoint, and it will keep doing it. Now it is moving away from the waypoints and then again coming back. This is because this is a small track, and for such a small track the car speed is too high. So if I decrease the car speed, you can change the car's maximum speed by going to the car controller, and from here you can change the top speed, and I will make it 50 miles per hour. And you can see that car will be in more control now, and it will not move too much away from its waypoints. And it is moving slowly, and now it is correctly following the circuit. Now to make the perfect circuit, we need more cubes. Only 3 cubes are not enough. So I will delete these cubes, and this is our first waypoint, and I will add more cubes to make the perfect circuit. Now you can see that I have added 13 cubes, and now I will go to the waypoints and I will click again assign using all child objects. And you can see that this strange circuit has been formed, and this is because the order of the waypoints is not correct. You can see that our cube 2 is here, cube 1 is at correct position. So we need to make changes to the position. We can move cubes up or down. For example, I will move this cube 2 to its correct position. I will keep it moving up until it is at its correct position. Now I will move this cube 3 to its correct position, and now the cube 4. And now I will move this cube 10 down, or yes, this cube 12 should be the last cube in the waypoint. So I will quickly do it. And you can see that all the cubes are at their correct position, and the circuit has been found here. And I will select all the cubes and I will turn off their box collider. Actually, it is already turned off. There is no box slider attached to any cube. So it is okay, and now I can play the game, and I will increase the top speed to the 100 miles per hour, and you will see that the car following the circuit. So this is the way we set the AI car in the standard assets. Now you can turn off the mesh renders. So inside the mesh scene, using this process, I have set up the waypoint. I will go to the original scene, and the original scene is in my projects and this my track. And here you can see that I have the waypoints game object, and I have added 53 waypoints. And you can see this circuit. So once you will add the child game objects, and you will click assign using all child objects. For me, the cubes were not in correct order, and I have to manually move them up or down. So you can do the same, and this is our circuit. Now if you have any problem in setting up the AI car, and your AI car is not behaving correctly and not following the circuit, or you are unable to perform the perfect circuit, then you can post the question in question and answers, and I will look into the issue. In the previous lecture, we created the waypoint system for our car. And this is the waypoint system. And in the resource file, there is a Unity package available. And if you open it and import it, then it will create a prefab in your project panel. You can drag these waypoints into the scene. For example, I will delete these waypoints if there are no waypoints in my scene now. Now you can drag this prefab into the hierarchy, and your waypoints will be created for this track. Now, if you will change your track and use some other track, then you have to create this waypoint system according to this track. Now, we want to place the first waypoint where we want our track to start. So this is where first track is. And if I select my AI car, I have placed the AI car just behind the first waypoint. And now by selecting the AI car, I can drag the parent waypoints to the circuit. And now let's see how AI car travels with this waypoint system. Now at some points your AI car may get stuck. Like here, if I go closer, your AI car is stuck here and it cannot move away from it, and it will keep getting stuck here. Now we will solve this matter later, but for now you can solve the matter by changing the speed of the car. You can decrease the top speed of the car. For example, you can make it 100 miles per hour and test it again. But later we will write the script to reset the car of the position of the AI car if it is not moving. Then it will place it back on track. Now we need checkpoint system for our track. For checkpoint system, now first of all I will disable the mesh render of all the waypoints, except this first waypoint, because we will start placing our checkpoints from the position of the first waypoint. So create a cube, or I can duplicate this cube. Now I will create a new cube, and from 3D object I will select a cube, and now you will not turn off the box collider for the waypoint, because we need to detect the collision, and it will not be actual collision. We want is trigger on. Now car will be able to pass through this cube, and I will make this waypoint, this checkpoint bigger. I will select the scale tool and it should be large so that we can detect the collision. And I will select the move tool and place it here. Now this is the first checkpoint, and when car will pass through it, a trigger will be generated. Now in the similar way, we created a parent game object for waypoints. We will create a parent game object, and I will reset it transform, and I will name it checkpoints. Now remember that the name of the checkpoints is imported here. We want to name first checkpoint 0, because we will use this name in the script. Duplicate this waypoint and now move it from its position and place it here. You can select the rotate tool and now rotate this waypoint. Now by doing this, you will create waypoints all around the track. And to organize, make a parent game object and make all the waypoints children of this main parent game object. Now I will delete these, and I have already created the checkpoints, and I have made the prefab. To make the prefab of any game object, you can drag it in the project panel and it will create the prefab of this game object. For example, this is our main camera, and we can drag it here and it will make the prefab of the main camera. Now if I delete this main camera from the scene, I can drag this prefab into the scene. Now it is the same camera. Similarly, I can use this prefab in other scenes. So I will drag the checkpoints prefab which I created previously here, and by selecting all the checkpoints, I will turn their mesh render on so that you can see. You can see that I have named them from 0 to 32, and there are 32 checkpoints. I will go closer. This waypoint system will also be available as a Unity package inside the resources. And similarly, we will place these waypoints all around the track. Now also note that I have created a tag checkpoint and assigned each of these checkpoint this tag. To create a new tag, what you can do, you can click a game object and click add tag, and here you can create a new tag. For example, I can create a tag and I will name it waypoint. We will not use this tag. I am only creating this to show you. Now save it, and if you select your game object again, now this tag is available. I will turn their mesh render on off, Now in this next lecture we will write some script so that we can detect the collision with the checkpoints, and we can update the laps. Also, we will write a script so that our player car cannot cheat and it will not be able to skip any checkpoint. Create a new C# script in your project panel and name it checkpoints and open it in your editor. First, at the top, I have declared some variables. Public int lab, this will be our lab, and I have initialized it to the 0. And then some other checkpoints. We will use them in the script and you will know why we have declared them. And below here I have declared a dictionary. Dictionary stores the key value pairs, and we declare a dictionary like this. It will store a checkpoint number. Checkpoint number will be its key. Then it will store whether the checkpoint has been visited or not. So in the start, we will find all the checkpoints. So we will write GameObject.find, GameObjects with tag, and the tag we have assigned to checkpoints is, if you select your checkpoints, each checkpoint has been assigned the tag checkpoint. So we will find all the game objects with the tag checkpoint. And this will be stored inside a game object array. This will be the array and it will store each checkpoint. Then we will find the length of this array. To store the length of this array, we will use this previously declared variable, and this is the checkpoint count. It will store how many checkpoints we have. And simply write here checkpoints dot length. Now we have 33 checkpoints in our scene, so this number will be 33 for us. You can see that 0 to 32 checkpoints. Now we will write a for each loop, and we will write for each game object CP in CPs in checkpoints. We will iterate through this checkpoint array by using for each loop, and for each loop, for each checkpoint, we will add a key value pair. We will say visited dot add, and then we will write int32 dot pass and checkpoint, not checkpoint, cp dot name, and then false. This cp.name will return a string value. We have converted it into the integer value by using int32.parse. And now what we have done is, we have set the visited for each of the checkpoint as false. Because this visited dictionary will contain key value pairs, first item will be key and it will be the checkpoint number. Then the second value will be the value for this key, and it will tell us whether this checkpoint has been visited or not. So at the start, we have not visited any checkpoint. So value for each key at the start will be false. Later, when we will visit the checkpoint, we will change the value for each key to the true. And we will do this in the onTriggerInter. onTriggerInter is called when we have a collider on a game object and we have checked this isTrigger on and we want to turn their box collider on. Now inside the onTriggerInter we will check if we have collided with the checkpoint. We will check if call.gameObject.add is equal to checkpoint. We will check if the game object with which we collided is the checkpoint. Then what we will do, we will store the current checkpoint and we will say checkpoint current. Then again we will use int32.parse or we can use int.parse call.gameObject.name. Now to get a number from the game object name, the name of the game object should be 0, 1, 2, 3 and it should be an integer value like this. We have declared these values as integer, but actually when we will use the game object.name here, it will always be returned as string. We have to convert it by using int.parse. If the name of the checkpoint is something else, like if we say checkpoint 0, then int32.parse or int.parse will not work. So therefore, these names are important here. So you have to select each checkpoint and name them like this. Now next, we will check if checkpoint count if checkpoint current is the next checkpoint, and initially we will declare this next checkpoint as 0. The initial value for the next checkpoint will be 0. And then if it is the next checkpoint, then we will change this key value pair. Currently value for each key is false. So we will say visited dot, not visited dot, we can select a index inside the dictionary like this. This is the name of the dictionary and we can use here checkpoint current and we are accessing and first let me make it true, then I will explain. Now this is our dictionary and this is the key. Suppose this is the key 1. Now it will check inside the dictionary if the key 1 exists. If the key 1 exists, then it will change its value to true. First it will collide with the checkpoint 0, so first key will be 0. So this will be visited 0, checkpoint current will be 0. And it will look inside the dictionary. If this key exists, then it will change its value to true. And next we will say if checkpoint current is equal to 0, first we will assign this checkpoint current to this checkpoint value. So this checkpoint has been initialized as -1. So we will say checkpoint is equal to checkpoint current. Now we will use this checkpoint to check if it is the first checkpoint, then we will increment the lab. Now game will start at the lab with the lab 1. As soon as the car will collide with this first waypoint, lab value will become 1. Then it will complete the circuit, and when second time it will collide with the waypoint 1, waypoint 0 actually it is, then lab will become 2. And next, we have to do something that car cannot skip the checkpoint. And actually this condition is checking that car cannot skip the checkpoint, because all this code will run if it is the next checkpoint, and this if statement will be closed, and I will copy these, and this should be inside this if statement. Now this statement will ensure that the car cannot cheat, player cannot skip any checkpoint. If the checkpoint current is not the next checkpoint, then this code will not run. Now we want to update the next checkpoint. And inside here, we want to still want to write the code inside this condition, So below this, we will update the next checkpoint. Now next checkpoint will be 1. And then we will check if it is the last checkpoint. And for this we will say if next checkpoint is greater than or equal to checkpoint count. This is the total number of checkpoints we have. If next checkpoint is the last checkpoint, then we want to reset all the key values to false again, because lab will start again. So we will store the keys of the dictionary inside a list. So we will create a new list, and it will store the int values, and it will store all the keys of the dictionary. Now we will write the for each loop. For each int key inside keys, we will make value for each key false. And then we will reinitialize the next checkpoint as 0. And this is the complete code for the checkpoints. We will test this script in the next lecture. In the last lecture, we wrote this script, and in this lecture, we will test this script. Now, create a text element inside your hierarchy. It will show the lab number, current lab number, and to create a text element, right click on the hierarchy, go to UI and click text. Now it will create a text element. I will go to my scene view and click the 2D button. If it is 3D, then click it to make it 2D. And double click the text, and now you can see this text. I will change the font size, and if you change the font size, the text will disappear, and if you make it bigger, then it will reappear like this. Now I will change the color of the text, and I will make it orange. and I will add a outline element. Now our text is looking a little better, and also I will add a shadow. Now inside the rect transform, click this and on your keyboard press the Alt button and press this. Now it will move your text to the top left corner, and I will go to my scene view, double click the text, and I will move it to the right and move it a little down. Now I will name this text lab text because it will show the current lab number, and by default it will have text lab 0. Now we will change the text of this inside the script. At the top declare using Unity engine .ui. Now declare here public text and lab text. Now inside here where we are incrementing the lab count, we will change the text. To change the text of this lab text element, we will say lab text dot text is equal to lab plus current lab number. Now let's see if it works. First, select your car and you need to drag this text element inside the inspector here. First, I will hide these lab and checkpoint because we don't need to show them inside this inspector. These are made public because we will use them later in other scripts. So we don't want them inside the script. I will write here at the top, hide in inspector. And similarly, I will do it for the checkpoint. Now if you save your script and go to Unity, now they are not showing in the inspector. Only your lab text is showing. Now let's play the game. And I will maximize it. And now you can see that lab has been updated. And I will play the whole track so that we can see that if it increments the lab or not. Currently this is the first lab, and you can see that our AI car is going too fast. And here you can see that lab has been updated. And currently this is the second lab. Now you can see that we have write this condition here inside this. This is preventing the player from cheating. So to show this, I will turn the match render of waypoints, not waypoint, turn the match renders of checkpoints on. And let's skip a checkpoint. I will skip first or second checkpoint. We cannot skip this checkpoint because there is no way to go. So we have to cross this checkpoint, and now I will skip this checkpoint. Now I have skipped this checkpoint, and first I will again turn off the mesh renders. Now if I complete this track, you will see that the lab will not be updated. To test it, I will again play, and I will fast forward the gameplay. And now you can see that I have completed the circuit, but the lab number has not been updated, because all this code is run after checking this condition. If the car is colliding with the next checkpoint, and if it is not the next checkpoint, and if it is skipping the checkpoint, then this code will not run. So this way we prevent the cheating. So this is our checkpoint system. Now you can see that if player skips the checkpoints, first I will turn off the mesh renders, and I will play the game. Now if player is playing the game and for some reason he loses control and he goes here, and then he again comes back. Now he has skipped the checkpoint, but he will complete the track, and after completing the whole track, he will come back again, and he will know that he has not completed the checkpoint. So this is not good. We want to tell the player immediately when he skips the checkpoint. We will show a text on the screen that he skips the checkpoint. So go back. So we will do this in the next lecture.